What is going on, guys? Artist Touch Painting. As always, your favorite artist, Jesse here, back with another tip video. If you're new to the channel, what we like to do here is teach painters how to grow their businesses and help the do-it-yourselfer get the job done right. Today, I'm on my way over to an estimate, and it got me thinking, what are some ways that I ensure landing more work, sealing the deal on more jobs? So I was thinking on my drive over here of 5 quick tips to help you land more work. If you're interested in that, stay tuned. I'll check back in with you. Alright, so let's just dive right into these tips. First up, we have punctuality. If you've seen any of my previous videos to this point, I've spoken about punctuality on a couple occasions. Being prompt and on time is highly important. It's your first impression, which I think is super, super important in a lot of different aspects in life. So for example, I was on my way to this estimate today, and I timed myself out right. I ended up getting there 5 minutes early. My truck is out front. The homeowner saw it. They were talking to one of their neighbors and waited for me to finish wrapping up my notes. First impression, I get out of the truck and we say hi and we're talking, I'm invited in. Like, that is a good look. Now, if he was out there talking to his neighbor and I show up 10, 15 minutes late, he's been waiting around. He's already got a bad taste in his mouth and he's, not got a good feeling about how I operate. So showing up early is hugely important. Along with that, responding when somebody texts you or emails you or hits you up through your website, or however a potential client tries to get in touch with you, the faster you can get to them, the faster you can get the process rolling, and the faster you can, try to seal the deal on the job. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten a job and the customer has told me it's because I responded, and because other, painters or contractors that they reached out to didn't even respond, or they responded way after me. I'm sure I've lost jobs like that. I'm not perfect. I'm not always quick to respond. But I've been fortunate and blessed that my wife helps with a whole lot of the background stuff with my business, and marketing is like her forte. And there's one specific job that comes to mind where we got a lead through Home Advisor. I used them a lot early on, so we got a lead through them, and my wife got the text and the email. She called it and it rang and rang and rang and nobody answered, and there was no voicemail, so she couldn't even leave a message. I think that a lot of other contractors would have just figured it's a dead lead. They would try to hit up Home Advisor and get their credit back because it was a dead lead or a fake lead or whatever you believe. But my wife doesn't believe in that sort of thing. So she decided to look up the email that was also provided in with the lead description, and she emailed them and let them know that she reached out via phone and that she couldn't leave a message, and that we are still interested in coming out for a free estimate. When I went to that estimate, the client, Karen, expressed how she was so pleased that we reached out. Promptly, we reached out, and we didn't give up after the first try. Because she was assuming that a lot of other, painters didn't respond because they hit that dead end of no voicemail. With this video also, I'm kind of doing this on the fly. I'm doing this as I went out on an estimate. I'm going to go through the process of, the different tactics I use, and hopefully at the end of the video, you guys can see whether or not I landed the job and if my 5 tips actually work. So we might both be pleasantly surprised or upset. I don't know. Let's find out. Tip number 2 is to come prepared with quality pictures of your work. So like I said, I was on my way to an estimate. I showed up promptly. I met the customer outside of their house because I was early and they were ready. As expected, they were waiting. So when I got in there, we were already off on the right foot, and we start going over, the normal process. What do they need done? What would I suggest? So on and so forth. Luckily, this is a house that is modeled exactly the same as a house I've done previously, so I already have a rough idea of what it's going to take to accomplish what they want. So once we get past that little bit, also, I came recommended, via review and word of mouth. There's a whole video about that. I'll leave the link in the description. So they already had a good taste in their mouth, and then I sealed the deal by showing up early, and then I come in and I show them pictures of their house finished. I have an actual example of the same exact house in different colors or what have you, and they can have tangible evidence of what their house possibly could look like with a new paint job. Now, we may not have agreed on the colors that I chose for one house compared to the colors that they want, but I was also lucky that she had colors in mind, and it was easier for the client to be able to visualize if her colors would work. Actually, the color that she landed on for the bulk of this job is the same or very similar color to what I did in the previous house's bedroom. So we kind of based it off of that color theme. We're going to do it in a different section of the house than I did in the previous house. Which leads me into tip number 3 for trying to seal more deals and get more painting jobs. So with good examples of, photography done of your work. Also, a little side blessing, I am an artist, so I do my own photography. I take my own interior shots, which just goes to show also when I tell people that I'm going to do good quality work because I want to get a good quality picture of it at the end. I'm not going to just do good enough and leave. I want to be able to showcase my work, and this is why. This is a full loop because now I have good pictures of a house that's the same as a new potential client. So leading into color consultation, she had colors already in her head. I had examples of that same color, which happened to be in the same house as the house we're estimating. And, I have a whole video of color consultation, so I'm not going to go super into depth about it. I'll leave the link to that in the description as well. You can check out my process for color consultation. It's the exact same step framework that I did with her today. And we ended up landing on the 2 colors for the bulk of the house if I do end up landing this job. And that's good. I don't always work it that way. A lot of times I submit my estimate, and then when we talk again, then I'll take the time out to meet back up with them, which is another good look. And when we do the deposit, I'll do the full color consultation and we'll land on colors then. But this job is a little bit further away, and she didn't want to have to drag me all the way back out here. So that right there shows me that she's already confident, A, from the referral that she got, B, from my punctuality, and C, I had examples of what she wanted, which led us into the coloring and landing colors. So now, when we move into the next tip, if we do end up landing the job, everything's already set and ready to go. Now, next time I meet up with them, I'm just gonna have to show up and start working, which is great. So the next step is the most important tip for how to get painting work. Tip number 4 is probably the most important tip I can give you for sealing the deal on a job. It's your actual contract. For you fly-by-night guys, or you guys that are just picking up work on the side, you should still be using a contract. It's going to save your butt in the long run. I'm going to do a whole video on just contracts, my contracts specifically, things that I implement, things that I used to do that I now don't, or things that I plan on doing or implementing in. Contracts are definitely going to change over time. You're going to plug things in, you're going to do certain things differently, but the basis is to have a clean, clear-cut contract. My estimate comes in the form of a contract. I email it to them. That way they know exactly what they're going to get and they can say yes or no, and we can just go from there. It needs to be professional. It should have your header on the top as your business name and logo. You should have your license number up there at the top as well. If you don't have a license because you're not a legitimate business, I suggest that should be one of the first things you do. I'm probably going to do a video on that for you guys that are thinking about starting a business and how I think you should go about doing that. I'll tell you how I did it. But until then, I'm just going to teach you how to land some jobs. My contracts are pretty simple. They're pretty straightforward. They do become a bit redundant because I break it down room by room. I don't price out room by room, but I do tell you the steps of the work per room. And I do this because it gives you a longer format. They can visualize how much it's going to take per room rather than he's doing all this for the whole house and this is the price for it and that's that. I like them to see that. And some rooms there's crown, some rooms there's not, some rooms there's chair rail, some rooms there isn't. My estimates aren't based off of square footage. If yours is, your contract might be a little bit different than mine. But the basis of it is to present them with a proper contract with the estimated prices on there. I'm not going to dig too much deeper than that because, like I said, I'm going to do a video on just contracts alone. But you definitely need to have one, and it's definitely just another thing to implement showing your professionalism. And again, tip 1 implemented into tip 4 is going to help you land more jobs. Now, if you've already implemented these tips and you get to the point where you're sending them the contract, do it promptly. The faster you can do it, the faster you're still in their mind and thinking about what you presented them, the more likely that you're going to be able to land that job. The turnover rate is going to be much better the faster you can do that. I'm also not the type of guy that gives you an estimate and a number and tries to get you to sign before I leave that day. I'm not naive to the fact that people are getting multiple contractors out to look at a job and bid prices on it. I just like to leave a lasting effect before I leave there, and the faster I can get that estimate to them, the faster they can compare everybody's prices. The last thing you want, like a contractor being late, is your customer waiting for you to get your estimate back to them. I fall short on this all the time. It's one of my biggest weaknesses, and I think it's one of the biggest things that I can step it up with to land more jobs, and that's to get my estimates to them faster so that we can get the ball rolling and I can get them on the schedule. The next thing on a client's mind, aside from price, is your time frame. The sooner you can get your estimate to them and they're willing to give you the deposit, the sooner you can lock in a time frame for them. And if you're able to tell them that time frame, that helps as well. The next tip is backing it up. Everything that you presented to them, everything that you've shown them that you can do, the quality you provide, the professionalism and the way you carry yourself in your business is all going to have to be backed up. And that's why it's tip number 5. It's the last thing. The reason that it's on this list of landing more jobs is that if you do all those other tips, you implement them together, everything is working out, and you land the job, and then you go and do the job and you don't hold up the end of your bargain, the promise is broken, they're not going to give you reviews. But backing it up and doing quality work and giving them everything that you sold them is going to get them to be a returning customer where they want you to come back and paint more if you're not already painting the whole house, or just to come back to freshen up seasonally or whatever it is. Like, you're going to get clients to call you back. That's going to land you more jobs in the future. They're going to review. If you get them to review you, they're going to tell people about it. This particular estimate that I got was based off of a referral, like I said, so that was because of backing it up. Don't make promises that you can't keep. Make sure everything on your contract is listed and it's to the point so that people aren't confused. There's no gray areas. That's what your addendums are for. I'll talk about that in the contract video. But yeah, you need to be able to sell and then provide what you sold. Otherwise, your work is not going to spread around and you're not going to be talked about. You're not going to be referred. You're not going to be able to present more reviews and more, you know what I mean? It's all a big circle. Business is a huge circle and everything plays in part to each other. And that's why I think that these 5 tips are the best things that I have implemented into my business for me to be able to get more jobs. And like I said, I fall short. I can do much better. This video is going to be holding me accountable, and I hope that it helps you guys hold yourselves accountable. I hope that you learned something here about these tips on how to land more jobs, because who doesn't want to get more work? Who doesn't want to land more jobs and bring in more money to support their lifestyle and their family? So by this point in this video, you have to be wondering, did I get the job?
Short story, yes, I did get the job. And when I sent the contract out to her, she responded fairly quickly and told me that she wanted to move forward with the job and that she was willing to sign the contract and send the deposit. Some things happened or whatever, and she didn't immediately do that, so I reached back out, kept the lines of communication open, and gave her a simple nudge. With that, she immediately sent over a signed contract and she deposited the money into my account directly, which was great. That doesn't always happen. Once she did that, I was able to get her on the schedule, and we're going to be doing that job probably in the next month or two. Pretty booked up, thank God. But that just goes to show you that these tips, if you use them and you're consistent with them, that you are going to see results. You're going to see growth. You're going to see that your jobs are getting landed more successfully and easily. The more that this becomes like a habit and just part of your process, the easier it's going to be, the more confidence you're going to have, and you're probably going to be able to raise your prices a little bit because now you're presenting yourself in a better, more professional manner, and that's going to afford you some benefits along with just getting more work, being able to get the work at prices that you want. So yeah, if you found any value in this video, please hit the thumbs up. It helps the videos to circulate so other people can see it and learn from it. If you haven't yet, subscribe so that you can get updated on when new videos come out, new tips, and hopefully we can go through this process together and we can both grow. Until then, keep learning, and I will catch you later.